In sickness and in health. But when the sickness is a pandemic, the level of family stress can be off the charts. Fox 4's Rachel Lloyd shows us how 2020 broke up some marriages and offers insight for those taking a harder look at their relationships.
I've known him since I was 12.
After dating the man she calls the one, the love of her life, on and off for 25 years, Kristen Miller called it quits for good 7 months ago. She says the COVID-19 pandemic pushed her over the edge.
We had issues prior to this happening, and then when you get to spend so much time together, you know, it was coming up more and more.
Prior to 2020, she traveled for work. She says working from home last year forced her to see things in her relationship she often overlooked while on the road.
It was a lot of stuff, but the communication was the biggest thing. He was totally unaccountable for anything.
She says being the breadwinner of the two during a time when finding a job was challenging brought her relationship to a dark place.
He was an angry person. It had nothing to do, I don't believe, with me. It had to do with his own self-esteem and how he felt as a man.
Then it got to the point where she says it just wasn't fixable.
And it started to really eat up at me, and I felt really bad every day.
People really feeling stuck.
Dr. Laura Streffler, a licensed mental health counselor, says the pandemic has had polar opposite effects on relationships.
For some, it's made them closer. For others, it's pulled them further apart.
When you hear from Kristen Miller, you probably wouldn't expect to learn that the number of people who got divorced in the Sunshine State actually dropped in 2020. A report by Bloomberg Wealth shows Florida divorces declined by 28% up until September of last year. According to the Florida Department of Health, Collier County's divorce rate shrunk by half. Charlotte, Lee, and Glades County saw a slight jump by less than 1%. Streffler says issues that brought couples to a breaking point were already there, but the pandemic magnified them.
We talk about 2020 being perfect vision. 2020 really changed the vision of the way a lot of people see things.
COVID-19 put a lot of strain on families in general, especially those with children.
Cape Coral attorney David Holly handles family law cases. He noticed a spike in battles between couples who had already gone their separate ways and have children together.
The financial issues got worse. The custody issues got worse. Splitting time sharing got worse.
Starting with who gets the stimulus check. It would typically get deposited to whomever claimed the children on their taxes, but that often turned into a disagreement, like the example he shared with me.
My employer's letting me go back to work. I want the kid back in school so I can do that. So I can't do virtual learning anymore. And the other spouse, being more COVID conscious, might say, no, I want the kid to stay home.
He also says the battle over virtual learning ramped up towards the end of 2020 as some parents transitioned back to the office.
You know, mom would say, hey, I was expecting half. And now dad might say, well, I've been furloughed, I really need it, so I'm not, open to giving you half.
Miller doesn't have any young children with her ex, but says like those parents, arguments and bickering became more commonplace in her relationship.
And if there was no pandemic, do you think you guys would still be together?
My first response when you said it to me was no, that we would still be together. But it's because I would have continued being outside the home and not focused on my relationship.
Rachel Lloyd, Fox 4.
The mental health counselor says you should be present with the ones you love. She says it's okay to take a break from being inside and you can go for a walk. You can find more mental health resources on our website, fox4now.com.